And hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Refresh Point. My name is Ben, and as always, I'm joined by my constant co-host, the current Weiss Schwarz English World Champion, Steve. Steve, how's it going?
It's going pretty well. I can't help but notice that you are looking a little weary, Ben.
You know what? It's been a little tiring here and there. So to y'all, this episode came out pretty soon after our last episode, which is my bad. We talked at about the same timing, but I got a little bit screwed by various different life activities and events here and there, and so our post-sack episode was uber delayed. My apologies. But that's okay. We got some news. The fall news conference happened with Rurouni Kenshin, the new Bunny Girl Senpai set, and P3 Reload being announced for English, and nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, also we got some details about the upcoming BCS World Championships in Tokyo. So
yeah, good stuff.
We can now start thinking about where to stay and how long and when.
Awesome times all around. Dengeki Bunko is here, and BCS Duluth and WGP Nats are on the slightly distant horizon. And so we're ready to speculate a bunch. So shuffle your decks, tap or cut, and we'll get right into the refresh point with some breaking news. The fall conference happened. Our original joke in the last episode would have landed a lot better because we definitely recorded the day of the conference and did not, in fact, get to see the conference before that part.
It turns out, though, it wasn't a huge deal.
It wasn't the biggest deal in the world.
No.
We got Worlds coming in hot. It's May 2nd.
Yes, May 2nd, and I believe we have a different venue than we've had the last few years. So originally, for the last couple of years, it's been held in Akihabara, but I believe it is moving closer to it's more to the south, closer to Haneda Airport now. So wherever you were staying last year for your hotel, if you're interested in staying by the venue, if that means anything to you in Japan, which I don't know if it does, you're gonna have to think about a different place to stay. So,
but realistically, I don't know, man. Like, you could really just kind of train around.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, if you're one of those type of people though, that's like you're gonna fly in, play Worlds, and then leave the next day.
Okay.
Like Riaz.
Actually, it'd be easier.
Maybe if you're just Riaz and no one else.
Like Clinton, I think. Oh well, no, he's stuck around.
Yeah, everybody does.
Yeah, yes.
So if you're Riaz, you're gonna need a different hotel. Everybody else, you're gonna be just fine.
No. He got the Bushi hotel booked last time. He didn't even have to think about it.
Oh, so. True.
So,
what was I thinking?
Yeah,
of course he's gonna win one.
Yeah. Clearly, he'll just win another one.
Well, they'll probably make you stay by the airport. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Probably.
All right.
Sets announced.
Yeah.
New Albuda, Rurouni Kenshin.
Yeah.
Persona 3 Reload.
Yeah. So all the Persona enjoyers, if you're like me, and you manage to restrain yourself and not buy the JP cards, you're rewarded. You've been handsomely rewarded for your patience.
You did it. You just had to wait.
And so now we will get the P3 Reload set in English, which in typical Persona and several other sets fashion, does not work with anything and will not need any of the older cards. So maybe that's a good thing for you.
It's even better in English in a sense than in JP because you can't get baited into using old cards that can't exist.
Right, exactly. You don't have to worry about figuring out where to find some P3 cards because don't worry, they're not there. So
they're not here.
And none of the P4 and 5 cards will work even a little bit with this set. Do not try. So
turns out none of the other people figured out how to reload. which is funny because Joker has a gun, like. You know,
there's many ways to. Yeah, we can beam on this for the rest of the episode. It would be easy to do. But
you know, I thought they all had. Didn't they all fight like the same shadows? Like, isn't there kind of like a, like, aren't all the personas just like the same in between? Like, different?
That's a complicated question. This isn't a Persona lore podcast, but.
In any case, it won't work. So
yeah, you're gonna get the most okayest Persona deck of all time. So great news there. Bunny Girl, I believe, is going to be much more meta forward.
As it turns out, if you hate Icy Tail and you were like, fucking finally, Aki is gone. Now then, it's time for Miku, which is still coming, and now Albuda.
Yes.
So now you can get killed by more different degenerate gamblers at every opportunity.
Yeah, Yume meta is coming in hot because we're getting 3 Icy Tails back to back in pretty short order with Albuda, quintuplets, and Frieren.
Oh yeah, true.
So
the hero Himmel would Icy Tail you.
Yeah,
he would Icy Tail you.
He would.
He would burn you for 2-3 times.
But we're also getting we're getting 2 meta decks out of this Bunny Girl set. We're gonna get the very enjoyable brain breaking My deck, the My Memory deck. And then we're also going to get the much more reasonable Kaide focused Kaide is Kaide deck with a choice.
You know, that's funny because I distinctly remember seeing what is it? He was like Shizukat's convincing about it on Twitter, and he's like, I don't understand how this deck can function.
Kaide?
Yeah.
It definitely has some wiggly parts to it, but it reminds me of several other decks that exist.
And I will say that is like a hard send it from my memory. I'm not sure exactly what he said. He was complaining about the list. I don't know exactly what he said. Don't fucking burn me on a stake.
Yeah.
His Twitter is public. You can go look. It's there.
Yeah, I do recall it being a specific sort of build, but the Kaide deck is reminiscent of several other synergy decks where the deck building portion of it will be simpler because there's a lot of stuff you have to have because it's required for the deck to operate.
All these events, the assists.
Yes, we have some Overlord-ish feels to it where we have this really important event that we have to run 4 of. We have this really important guy that we have to run 4 of that makes the event free. And we have it all culminating into this early play advantage engine / finisher that is going to try and win the game. On top of all that, we've got some other very reasonable mechanics, including some really modern stuff that is good for the meta, like
on Death Akatsuki, that's also a climax swapper.
Yes, and minus souls that doesn't rely on anything but a card being in the level zone. So, and
is it level or memory?
It has to be in level. Then you send it to memory. Then you spend another card into your level, and you pay a fortune, and you can give a character -3 souls.
Awesome, good stuff.
It's -3 souls, baby.
We love -3 souls. Defensive counterplay. Boom.
Like, and with the
that matters.
Yes, and with the amount of grief cancel finishers rolling around in the meta, and we're only piling in more as we go further in, Minus Souls has never looked better than it looks right now.
Yeah, true. Because the only people that are playing slime are the 2 people that win.
Yeah.
So everybody else, you can just kill them, take second or take third, and then get the world's invite.
Yeah, exactly.
Easy.
Yeah.
Just bring new Sora. Just bring a new Sora deck, you know? Clean it up.
Yeah. The Rurouni Kenshin set is fine. I think JP was kind of lukewarm on it, but I don't think that they're... This is going to sound like flame, but it's not. I don't think they're necessarily known for their expansive exploration of sets. A lot of times they will make a decision on a set and then it just kind of stays that way until somebody else discovers something really pertinent about it. Like they didn't discover Ayame on their own. They had the set for months and they still didn't figure it out. It took some Western innovation to crank that real meter into the red.
Yeah.
So sometimes sets, they come out in Japan, they kind of ruminate a little bit there, but they ultimately don't have enough pull, and so they move on to something else. That may be the case with Rurouni Kenshin. I don't know. But
you know what I will say though is until they give us like whatever English shop promo, whatever the fuck, for Rurouni Kenshin, just disrespect the hell out of this list. They didn't give that set a fucking anti-early counter. Just like they gave it as a promo. They gave it as a promo in a fucking like a shop tournament promo, like 2 months later or something.
Wow.
So, if you are fighting Rurouni Kenshin for at minimum a month, just tell them to fuck off. Play Overlord, Play Sora. Like, play any and all early play garbage. If you know somebody playing Rurouni Kenshin, you just tell them to fuck right off. Because they can't have it. It's impossible for them to have it, actually. Unless they adjust like the box toppers. I guess they can do it as a shop
promo.
Yeah. No, they'll do it eventually.
Yeah.
Surely, Copium. Surely they wouldn't let a set just not have a JP shop promo. And in this particular instance, it's an anti-change counter.
I mean,
it couldn't possibly happen.
I've noticed that there's been a couple sets that have come out recently that are missing like a really core mechanic that many other sets have, and it creates more open counterplay against those super sets. Like Oshinoko is my favorite to pick on for this.
Yeah.
This set cannot clock itself. They don't really have any cards that do it. So as soon as they get to 2-5, they can't move, and you're just like, pass. They don't have an early play healer, and they can't clock themselves. They literally
have an early play healer.
They don't typically run it though.
Oh, okay.
Like the choice deck doesn't really run it.
Really?
No,
Is it not like a 4 or more like early play healer? Am I trolling?
Yeah, the thing that they run at early play is like a checker.
Oh, it's a checker.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know, but in any case, I've never seen that deck heal once. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, me neither. So valid.
If they have it, they don't run it. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it's kind of interesting that some decks just have this like little quirk that shows up, and you're like, huh.
Yeah, no, I love stranding Oshinoko at level 0. It's my favorite hobby. We love a deck that has zeros that suck that also can't clock itself to 1. Great times all around.
Yeah, it's kind of something. Anyway, yeah, so Rurouni Kenshin does seem like one of those sets that's kind of, I don't know, it's JoJo-esque, where it's like they kind of cooked a lot. They put a bunch of mechanics into it.
Dude, there's a lot of really cool shit in that list.
Yeah.
Actually, though.
They have
they're fucking like the thing that like, oh, I played a door. Now I'm gonna pay 1 and then I'm gonna get a door in my hand. I'm gonna door combo you every single turn. I'm just like, brother, help.
Yeah,
Against souls?
Yeah, I think
fucking help me.
I think they also have a level 1 bodyguard. Yeah.
Oh god.
They have a level 2 early play as a level 1 that's 10-5 and bodyguard. And then at the start of your draw phase, you have to clock yourself or send it to memory. It's like...
I mean, it's kind of a banger, honestly.
It's pretty psychotic, but like, in a way.
Like, in enough context, it'll just work.
You would be able to guess this early play condition if I gave you 10 guesses.
What? Nah. 10 guesses? Nah. Pick me a real number of guesses and I'll go for it right now.
All right, 3.
3? Okay. Okay, so it can't be normal. It can't be normal.
It's a level 2.
It's a level 2.
It early plays at level 1.
Okay. Even considering that, is it like named card in clock?
No.
All right. Is it the 6 or more? CX in waiting?
For whom?
For whom? Oh! The enemy?
No.
For you?
No, it's 3 or less for your opponent.
What the fuck?
You have no control over this thing. This is the wildest early play that's ever been.
Oh my fucking god.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
3 or less in the opponent's waiting room.
Yep.
I mean, I guess in a sense, if they're losing...
Immediately stop attacking. You just immediately stop attacking.
No, because if they're... No, but here's the thing. If you're at level 1 and they're 4 out, then who cares? Just slam a climax.
Just slam a jam them,
Just
that's
fucking
right.
kill them, right? Like, it's 3 or less. So, presumably failing means there's 4 more, which means that if they have one in their hand for a combo, there's only 3 of them bitches in there. Just kill them.
Yeah, so I don't think I've ever seen a card with that early play condition, but I have now. So, looks like a whole bunch of, just very fun stuff. Has a big following here in the West, so looking forward to it.
Yeah, it will be a fun time. Shout outs to everybody that bought Rurouni Kenshin being like, there's no way they would bring over Rurouni Kenshin.
Whoops.
Well, just like everybody
There's
who
a
bought...
reason that you knew about it. Come on, man. Come on.
Shout outs to everybody who bought Persona 3 Reload being like, there's no way that they would bring Persona 3 Reload over here.
Yeah, if you thought that, I don't know what you were thinking.
So, I mean, let's talk. We can talk a little bit about a little Persona.
Yeah. So
what are we're looking at 2/6 combo that gets soul.
We have like 3 really reasonable level 1 combos following into what is likely to be the exact same end game for all of them. Like, there's not very many good end games in this deck.
What do you mean? Let the people play Akihiko. It
Right.
will definitely work.
Right.
It will definitely not make you want to shoot yourself.
Right. So,
All right.
for context, we've got 3 different 1 combos. We have all the flavors. We have slow deck speed with the yellow one, which is on attacks, you give a character on reverse salvage.
Okay, we have the dog, Korone. All
Right. We have Korone combo, right?
All right, awesome.
Then 2, we have medium deck speed. We've got 2 SIGs on door.
Yeah.
And if it reveals 2 or higher, we get to give +1 souls.
Is it reveal or is it add?
I think it has to reveal it.
Okay, because there's a difference between like salvaging a level 2 and just revealing one, right?
I think it's just reveal. I can confirm that, but I'm pretty sure.
That's valid.
They've definitely run this sort of like framework a couple times now.
Yeah. There's been doesn't Oshinoko has
If X is 2 or higher, so the revealed cards.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
So really good, really reasonable combo on a really decent body, like on placement 6/5. So 7/5 on combo is pretty big. Like door, I mean, this is all very good. And then we have the classic, the high speed, the Emilia combo on pants from a 5/5, which is the highest obvious deck movement, but the lowest selectivity. So you get to decide where on
And
that.
also kind of low power, like swinging at a 6/5.
Yeah, but higher static power, I guess, is the appeal there. Like, it'll be 5/5 on both players' turn, whereas the 6/5
Yeah, so it'll
will go
die
to
both
4.
ways.
Right. There's always, like, this idea that, like, if it has higher static power, it'll live, but, like, that number has to be significantly higher than that. So, it's fine. It's on pants. It's the most recomboable. It's fine.
Yeah.
So you get to decide which knob, which of those toggles you want to toggle it to.
Yeah.
And then
exactly. It's like a different version of like the Uma deck building decision right now, where
Yeah.
you're like, am I a Manhattan player or am I a Satano Diamond player? Do I search 2 or do I mill my entire deck?
Yeah, on the top end, I didn't mention it because it doesn't need to be mentioned. There is a Yukina sort of clone where it's like burn 2 or burn 4, and then you get to top deck your opponent. The downside being, of course, that it does nothing on play and it takes pitch 2. So, like, I don't know how you make that work.
Okay, well, let's move on.
You've got that's the not very reasonable. We have medium reasonable, which is the Akihiko combo, which is on placement we can heal, or if it's a full board, we can send a card to stock from the top of our clock, so we can either clock to stock if it's a full board, or clock to waiting room on placement. And then it's
cool, yeah.
Pay 1 and pitch 2 with door to burn 3 and then all level 1 or higher cards that are revealed by this damage are placed in the clock, even if the damage is canceled. Downsides, this costs 2 cards. And
I love all of these these ditch 2 finishers that don't add cards to your hand.
Yeah,
it's really nice.
It's really troll. So there's no way you're tripling this, probably. Like, it would require a lot of good things to happen before you could triple it. Even though it has a way to, like, cheat this thing onto the board.
Okay, how do we cheat?
Okay, it cheats on with a 0.
Yeah, let's cheat. I love cheating. Wait, as a 0?
Yeah, so there's a 0 Akihiko that says if you're level 3, you can send it to the waiting room to cast an Akihiko from your hand for free.
So for this card that discards 2 to do the finisher, the way to play it cheaper is to play yet another card to play my guy for free,
right?
Saving stock. But I don't need stock.
Which I can then use to spam 2 brainstorms
and pray heavily.
Heavily.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, that's our strat here.
Okay.
I guess you could mortgage the card from your hand, right? You can pay it later.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the medium reasonability finisher. Of course, the most obvious problem with it is not very many packets, and the modern Weiss deck is starting to look very 0 heavy.
Like, there's a reason Oshinoko is really killer, guys, and it's the fact that people be running a lot of fucking level 0s.
Yeah, I would say most decks are standard right around 20 zeros plus climaxes, so realistically this thing is gonna stick maybe 1 card. The other problem is, as the game progresses, your opponent is going to have the tendency of holding high-level cards in his hand. So it's even less chance that there will be random high-level cards kicking around in there. So
and this isn't like a point, this isn't like a specific point against P3. I think Steve has said that sentence in literally the last 3 episodes. That exact sentence!
Yeah. it's just how the game works.
It is!
And so that leaves us with our high reasonability, relatively low ceiling, but we still like it anyway.
We love early play advantage combos.
Right.
We're getting so many of them. We got
right. Yeah.
We're
reducing
Buddha.
the brains of
P3.
the player base slowly but surely.
We got so many early play combos everywhere, as far as the eye can see.
So,
I don't know what that voice was.
I don't either. But it was like half Nicolas Cage. It was wild.
Yeah.
So we have another level 2-ish combo. So we have a bonder that bonds the 3/2, very similar to like it's Kanata. This is a Kanata-esque combo. We have a bonder for this 3/2. We have a 2/1 that you can discard a character to draw, and then as part of the climax combo, when you place the choice, you send the standing character to memory, then you choose the 3/2, you put it on the stage in the same position that it was in, then the 3/2 resolves the choice combo. So on placement, we get the heal, very similar to Kanata. Then on attack with the choice combo, we get 2 options. This is where we distinguish ourselves from Kanata as being just better. So we either get the Alice effect, where we salvage and then stock, but the stock, instead of coming from your waiting room, comes from the top of your deck, so slightly more risky. Or we get pitch a character to burn 2. So we have our combination finisher / early play. And the bonder for it is a 2K support for level 3s.
Okay.
So,
but also not for nothing. Isn't the Albuda finisher we just talked about? Is the cost for the burn just like pay 1?
It's pitch.
Oh, it's also pitch.
Kaide is also pitch.
Okay.
Kaide is very similar to this. So there's Kaide is very Kaide-esque, except her early play is just have the right conditions in level zone, and then you either get burn or you get advantage. So we're getting a couple different run backs of this sort of style of character.
Right.
The risk here, of course, we have to talk about it. There's a set that is about there's a character, and he starts as a person, but then he dies, and when he comes back, he's a slime, and there's a whole deck built around it. And the problem is that deck has these cards, and the cards send your cards to memory. And those cards will beat your cards at 2 if they are already at 2.
Right.
So we need to be wary of losing this thing to memory counter because this is our finisher and our advantage engine. So we are heavily leveraged. We cannot lose them all at once to a zone we can't recover them from. So you have to be kind of cautious about your opponent's memory counters. I use Slime as an example, but of course there are other decks that have memory counters that have guys that can beat protagonists and Thanatos.
Yeah.
So you have to be a little bit wary of counterplay at level 2. Plus, you're not level 2, you're level 3. So the anti-early counters that everyone is running to screw over Overlord decks and other decks like them will screw you over by proxy. So you have to be cautious of this sort of counterplay once your opponent hits 2.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And all these rules go for Kaide as well, because Kaide is going to have the exact same problems, which is...
Yeah, I brought up the cost because Kaide just is I noticed that she just says burn 2.
Oh, yeah, she's free,
for no cost.
Right.
Oh, she needs experience.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
She needs 2 very specific cards in the level zone, which is kind of annoying to pull off, but...
it's also her level...
It's her event and the event and the level 1.
Right.
So it's her 2 synergy pieces, but you need them both in your hand. They're nice to have in your hand, and you also need them in the experience zone. So like it's a bit tricky to pull off sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. The trade-off, of course, is that Thanatos is very easy to pull off, and you get a nice hand fix, which means
that's true.
You can force yourself into the climax or into better cards, or you can pitch climax. You can't pitch climaxes with it. Almost all the ditching in this set is characters, which is problematic.
Except for the Rico,
yeah, which
is grief as fuck.
Yes,
we love telling standby decks to fuck off in this house at times, and they just made the Rico say if you have a higher level card in your backstage, you can't rest in it or you can't stand it anymore. So let me fix my hand, and if you just happen to be playing standby and nothing else, this doesn't work in any other context, but if you happen to be playing standby, and even only standby decks that standby to back, because a lot of them standby to front now too. Yeah. So it's a very specific kind of standby deck that you're telling to fuck off and go to hell.
Yeah, it's not gonna come up that often, but good lord, if you get stung by that thing, it's gonna feel bad. So that's a real thing that this deck has, on top of like all the usual suspects in terms of mechanics. And then for some reason in a Persona only special, 3 different rest counters. I don't know why. There's 3 different ones.
We're bringing back Maggie.
Yeah.
She's coming back.
So we get a reprint of Maggie's tarot reading, which is the 2/3 rest counter that your opponent gets to bounce one of your guys as if that was some sort of bad thing that happened. But we get to
play. He's gonna bounce your Thanatos.
Yeah, but we get to pay 1 less for the rest counter, so we take those.
Okay.
We get the regular flavor rest counter, which
we also get to pay for.
Right. If you don't want to bounce your guys, or you think that that's a negative that you don't want to endure, you can pay 1 more stock and just tell them to screw themselves. So we get 2 versions of the pay for rest counter. We get the protagonist one, then we get it looks like a promo one. That's the Jack Bros from the original P3.
So we might not get that one.
Right. Well, maybe we'll see.
All right.
It looks like it's a box hopper pro, or like some kind of. It looks like it's a promo that's.
Copium will get the Jack Bros because we love the Jack Bros.
Yeah, it's a very nice promo. I have the old P3 Jack Bros and JP.
Ooh.
But yeah,
this guy.
It's the exact same art, so it'd be cool if they managed to like run that back. So that'd be nice. Nice to have more defensive counterplay. We're adding more defensive counterplay with every single passing set. So. It's becoming more and more important that you respect your opponent and run bouncers. I don't know how else to explain it, but like if you don't do one of those 2 things, your opponent's gonna get to slap you with one of these mechanics. So
I have to say, playing this review deck has made me be like, all right, Okay, Hololive. How much hand is that?
How many cards you got?
How many cards you got in that hand, buddy? 1, 2,
Is it 5?
3, 4. 4. Okay. But if it's 5, it's like, did he have 1 stock left? Oh man!
I literally threw a hand last night for the rest counter that was 3 Marines and another guy.
Did you win that?
Yeah, my opponent's 3-6. All I needed to do was live.
Bastard.
So I was like, take my whole hand.
Fucking bastard. God
Play
damn it.
towards your win cons. It's the moral of the story.
Play towards your win cons.
You don't give the Overlord a deck a chance to come back in the game. You just tap them down and laugh.
All right.
Not Irons, obviously, but like somebody else. Anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
totally okay set. If you want to, there's gonna be people playing this thing. Persona is one of the most beloved franchises in all of Weiss Schwarz, and
just like in general,
yeah,
and kind of like this kind of weeb anime general gaming
no,
space.
this is the GOAT. This is why more Persona sets not being printed is so fucking weird. It's like they can literally print cash out of a cash printing machine, but maybe they don't feel like it. I don't know. But
yeah, man. They P5 Royal. Who's that?
P5 crossed over with so many things that had nothing to do with anything. They had plenty of time. Like they sold that license to everyone. They're like, hey, is that a random mobile game? You want some P5? It's like
the P5 Slayer, dude. Yeah. Like, how many gacha games died the year after collabing with
Yeah.
with
Collabing with
Persona?
P5 is actually we're lucky that Weiss Schwarz didn't. Like, it would have killed the game. Something about P5, I don't know. But yeah,
I mean, we got the original set, and
it literally got second at Worlds. It was so close.
damn. Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, those are the sets we have to look forward to. We love them. These are some of the most popular franchises of the last few years. So yeah, I think that these are just good decisions, and I continue to be disciplined enough and right enough to know which Japanese cards I should buy.
Hi, Vey. All right, there's not really a great spot for this in our planning for this episode of like things we wanted to talk about, but so I'm just gonna bring it up right now.
Yeah.
So we put it in the simulator, or actually, sorry, in our proxies of real life, because what simulator? Ha 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 ha. Wait, was that recent? Was that like in between last episode and this episode? I can't remember.
I don't know.
Anyways, so yeah, the simulator got DMCA'd off of Itch.io, which, you know, was kind of
cringe.
It's cringe.
It's cringe by Bushiroad.
A little potentially kind of expected to some degree. But in any case, it's actually really funny that like most of the users were like Japanese players.
It's disgusting. Like
this
is just like,
I think, okay, because I think the funny thing is, if most of the user base were literally English players, I don't think anything would have happened.
It's one of those things that always strikes me as strange. They have to do it. Like, let's get that out of the way first. Bushiroad has to defend their copyrights and intellectual property. As much as we don't like it, they have to do it because there are legal ramifications if they don't. But if there's a thing that exists and it's so popular that it is attracting your players to it, perhaps, maybe, that's a thing that you yourself could, I don't know, buy or undertake yourself, because there's a guaranteed market that is clearly demanding it because they're doing the thing already for free, and you could just print some more money if you did it, or I guess you could just be a spiteful dick and turn it off and then not do anything for it yourself to fill the need, needlessly antagonizing your player base I don't know. I don't run Bushi Road, but I feel like we've been down this road before with other games, and every single time it's proven right that this thing was propping your game up, and there were players that were introduced to the game, learned the game, attracted to the game by this thing, and consequently spent money and put money in your pockets because of it. So it's real weird when they just go, and they just slap it. Like, Lord Kenna did this exact same thing. They milked it for just long enough to keep their player base alive, and because they were having print shortages, and then as soon as it became convenient, they axed it. And it sucks, because having digital ways to play your game only brings more players to the physical copies of your game. It's a known, understood fact. It's not the opinion of this podcast. It's not my opinion. It's just how things work. If I show you something and it's cheap and easy to access and it gives you a taste, then you're going to want to, if you enjoy that thing, you're going to want to do it more. So, I don't know. It sucks. But hypothetically, if a simulator existed, then you could probably still find it somewhere if you looked for it. But
yeah. And I think the funniest part, when I really felt like it was gonna start, like, probably coming down, when the fucking VTuber anime has a Weiss simulator in the anime.
I know.
And it has a color scheme that's really familiar.
Yeah, fuck. The anime got us. God damn them. All right. Well, a strongly worded letter to that guy about how he killed the simulator might be in order. And how it's specifically his fault and no one else's.
In any case.
No, we're not bullying. We're not bullying. But again. Though.
So for fun, it's fun, he says, I was testing some Nikkei because we got another reveal that was kind of cool. Costless way to clock yourself for cards, and also a climax swap from deck. And then all the other, like, pieces, and, like, 12 vanilla cards. Just pretending, like, vanilla Brainstormer. And
we're gonna have, like, real deck lists here real soon.
Soon.
It's coming out in JP in December, guys.
But the funniest part about it was I ran 8 games into somebody.
Yeah. And
I lost 7 of them. Because...
Omega blocking.
Just, like... Without... Okay. Because, like, the way that I ended up playing it a bunch... And because, like... It was kind of late. I'll give it that. I was probably not making the best decisions, but also we do have like 10 cards that don't have text. And in any case, we still got to like the full thing in like 6 of those games, like 8 stock, the full board, you know,
the whole nonsense
on board.
Right.
The things that happened though was that he played a deck that was either resilient on board,
right.
Was able to very much board compress and by proxy stock compress.
Right.
And then because like the only board that is currently like kind of revealed is a level 0 that can front without penalty, basically.
Right.
That 0 shot combo. But that also means you don't clear them. And if they just get to keep cards like all the time, then they're gonna start.
They're just gonna be uber compressed.
Yeah, they just start uber compressing. And so there was that. And then, like, in some of those cases, I would whiff a climax trigger on one of the finishers and just want to off myself. I'd just be like, that's fucking 2 and 8! The swing for 5 is not gonna stick! I needed a climax! God damn it! And just, like, throw the whole deck away. I'm like, God damn it. And then he just, like, blocks down 8 more packets and just, like, stays at, like, 3-2 or something. I'm just like... just kill me, I don't know.
It's one of those things that we're gonna need a few more cards just to get to the point where we think that it's good, but it's gonna happen sooner rather than later because we're wrapping up the previews on some other sets, and it's gonna be time for Nikkei, more Nikkei. So
I do think that I do think that it's going to want/need some stock decomp if it wants to go Giga.
I think as long as it can fight on the board and force your opponent to make real decisions, that might be okay.
Yeah, that too. That would be good. Because like thinking about it is like that shot combo is nice as like a Nikkei player because you don't have to worry about it.
Right.
But like you kind of want to be playing the bar combo if that ends up being a game plan, right? You kind of want to be playing that bar 2/6 combo because it's a level 1 that can kill things.
Right.
And if you're like not playing that, then you're not contesting board all the time, and you're just kind of like, you know, hands in the air, question mark, not sure.
Yeah, I think there'll be plenty to come in to fill that gap. Whether it's higher level advantage combos, whether it's early play healing, whether it's like clock to stock healing or something like that, like some way, like you're gonna be able to fight on, like God forbid they print any sort of like true decomp, like please I'm begging you, don't. But
I think, okay, in the world that Nikkei doesn't get like any like stock decomp, right?
Yeah.
Is it just gonna be like a tension between like decks that are Nikkei and decks that can stock compress, and then decks that can kill stock compress?
Yeah, it's interesting because they'll be able to ratchet their damage however it needs to ratchet. If you get unlucky in the mid game and you get to too high level, the game looks absolutely lost.
Yeah, if you're behind, you're dead.
Yeah, like if you're 3 and they're waiting to hit 3, like I don't know what.
See you later.
Yeah,
if you are like mid 2 and you send them to 3 and you've had like a normal game ish or even a better game, and your deck's like doing any like stock compressing, and you're just like sitting there at like 8, 9, 10 stock clean stock, and you're just like, well, that's 2 and 6 and like, you know, 5 or 6 in waiting room. Have fun.
Yeah,
there's like a world.
Yeah,
I
think trying to land 3s on a deck that's very compressed is hard. But if they don't even need 3s, if they just need 2s, then...
Well, no, but that's also a problem, right? It's hard for you to opt out of 3s because opting out of 3 means opting out of a second check top 2.
Right.
So if you play like only the one finisher to only bump up shot to 2, then you only get the check top 2 once across the board.
Right. So it's complicated. The other thing you could do, of course, is you could assign the souls and then overplay them.
True.
So, or
well,
you could
no, because, well, I mean, you can do it just to get the souls, sure, but then again, you're still not getting like the top checking, I guess.
No,
in that sense.
when it assigns the souls on placement.
Correct.
So
yeah.
you assign the souls and then you overplay the guy that just got the souls with a different guy.
Oh, just for like less souls?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Hard to say.
In any case, yeah, we're not. Japan's gonna iterate. So
we'll see.
This will be a tightly watched WGP in my opinion, because this is going to be the set's going to come out in December and then WGP is in January. So
I think as well, because, well, okay, only with the current previews, right? They might introduce some like advantage combo or like some kind of degen.
We have a lot of cards to go.
Like we have an immense amount of cards to go, and it's like a gacha game set. We have immense amount of cards to go.
Yeah.
So, not for nothing that, but also on initial reveals, it's kind of like, well, if I don't have a way to like slow down the game and heal or fix or mitigate, then that's kind of like what JP meta kind of trends towards on average. Like, because if it doesn't get that kind of thing, then it becomes like an all or nothing kill deck where like you have to get there. It's 8 stock, it's 6 specific cards. At level 3, you have to get there.
Yeah.
If you miss any one part of it, you want to shoot yourself.
Yeah, no, it's very bad because it's a fixed package and you need all the parts, because removing even one of the parts or weakening one of the parts makes the whole thing a lot worse.
So, and to that aspect, like without a way to mitigate the game otherwise, currently it doesn't seem, it hasn't been making like the biggest doomer posting splash in that sense.
Yeah, but I think it will. This finisher concerns me more than most cards I've ever seen, in terms of potential. So, but it is very much a concert of several mechanics happening at once. So, we'll see. But I am afraid, and I think that if there is a well put together collaboration of other parts outside of the parts that we already know about that work together really well, then yeah, it's going to be really complicated to beat that sort of end game.
Yeah. Also, WGP is coming up. I'm a fucking scrub, and
same,
and Steve is too. So I'm going, but for the last chance qual. And if I scrub out of that, then yippee, I get to play Revy for the rest of the year. But if we don't, then I'll get to play Agnes Tachyon, because we love Agnes Tachyon. I love milling my entire deck and getting bailed out of deck states that in no world should I ever be able or allowed to like get out of. It's kind of just, it's disgusting. It's disgusting how much deck milling Uma Musume can get to with the diamond combo. You have discard 2, draw 2. You have regular salvage brainstorm. You have Dansu fucking flame. The most, like, honestly kind of win more card in a sense, like, ever. Because you're just like, if I have a marker, and which I will have because the rest of my deck doesn't need markers anymore. It's only the one combo sometimes if I really want it, or nothing because the finisher doesn't need it anymore and nothing else does. So my brainstormer can have it now forever. And she says, okay, if I hit a brainstorm with a marker, then I get to flip the top 2 cards and factor friction you. Give me a character or event. Great times. Now hear me out, because I'm Uma Musume. And I can fix my hand always by discarding 2 and drawing 2, then I don't care what you give me.
Yeah, it's actually kind of low-key disgusting.
And it's a check 3 brainstormer. It's a check 3 for any card brainstormer.
Yeah, their deck speed is crazy how powerful it is. I honestly, of all the sets that exist in JP, this is the one set I do not want to see in English at all. Because
I had a game.
I just don't think it's very balanced.
I had a game where I was out 7.
Yeah.
By like end of turn 2-ish. But like I had like I was able to like swing with some characters previously, and I was like just gripping the 1 combo. And it was like the biggest Gamba instant bail ever, because I was out 6. And so I like draw a clock. I have triple 1 combo in hand by pure like luck sack, and then I slam like a card to get markered under the Dansu. I hit one of the 2.
Yeah.
And then it's just like off like the brainstorm.
Oh, off the brainstorm. Got it.
I hit one of the 2 climaxes.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, cool. Check. Mill 4. Check 3. Factor fiction. Give me a card, whatever, I don't care. Swing 3 times. Mill 15. Swing 3. Oh, whoa, that's crazy. There's only 3 more clean cards in my deck, and I'm at 1-0. Oh.
It's kind of reminiscent of,
man.
Like it's like SAO Anniversary, but like somehow with even better tools for milling, where it's like your deck is so warp speed for no reason that it takes very little to be like, oh man, this deck's not in a good state. I hope I don't get punished. Randomly block, luckily. Oh, I guess I'm gonna get away with this scot-free. Mill 30. And it's just like,
yeah,
I don't know why it does that, but I guess it does. And as a person who abused SAO Anniversary, I guess I can't be too mad. Just be like, all right, I hit level 1, cool. Mill 4, mill 4, mill 3, mill 3, mill 4, mill 4, mill 3. Okay, it's gone. Triple Alice. Oh man, it's so weird. Anyway.
That's crazy how my deck was bad and now it's not. Whoa.
Yeah. So let's never print that in English.
Yeah. Well, in any case, I'll be at the last chance qualifier, and hopefully, well, I mean, I'll be at the tournament the next day regardless.
Yeah.
It's either as like a spectating scrub or like actually playing in it.
You mean as a supportive member of our community?
As a supportive member of my friends who did get invites and will be good.
Yes.
Wahoo.
So I will not be there because I suck. But and I was unable to grip any of the WGP events locally, but I will be cheering on all of the local DFW players as they try hard to go to Japan.
Yeah,
for
finals
free.
is a free invite. And a free flight.
Yeah.
We love to see it. They'll get to tell us how Nikkei goes. It'll be a great time. It'll be a grand time. I think this is the longest breaking news segment, quote unquote, that we've ever cracked. Like, this episode is like almost done. Like,
there was just a lot to talk about.
There's a lot to talk about.
And then we kind of crammed in a bunch of stuff that probably would have been okay in Spike Corner.
Well, now there isn't one. Well, now there isn't one.
We were talking about the sets individually in breaking news instead of talking about them in Spike Corner.
I guess that's true.
Which we could have easily done. So.
Yeah. Well, now instead we'll kill off the rest of the night with a midnight release.
Yes.
Dengeki Bunko is here.
So it's coming out tomorrow. Is the street date for Dengeki Bunko, which is a set that's been out in Japan for some time, but luckily. I wouldn't have anticipated this several years ago, but apparently they figured out a way, and so now we get Bunko sets in English. So this one will be pertinent to one particular set that already exists.
Yeah,
English.
go get online. We get a real level swap and a level 3 Slayer, and it sends it to memory. I'm pretty sure it's like gain 7k, and then it sends to memory. It's a memory kicker. It's so funny. And then you get a level swapper that gets you get to pay 1 and kill itself to check 4 and add a level 1 or higher, so you can like play the events better. Even it's a great time. Oh, no, that's not what you meant. So, yeah, we got all the new Excel World cards! The Excel World cards, so that we can make it, like, slightly playable, like a 2019, 2020 power level deck. Yeah, Excel World cards. It's gonna be awesome. We just, like, kill the back row, you know, like we can front attack and kill the back row, tell the enemy to go fuck off and die, and we can still do all the funny, like, burn level shenanigans. Yeah, great stuff. That's the support you were talking. Oh no, Sword Art. That's the support you were talking about. There's clearly so many good Sword Art cards in the Dengeki set. Now I haven't seen anybody running them ever in like the last 2 months, but surely, you know, something was good about that people could use and get some usage out of.
No.
That's the set, right?
No, that's not the set.
What about the other 2 sets? Those are the sets, right?
No. I wish it was the Sword Art set. I really do. But it's not. This might be the worst set of Sword Art cards ever printed. I don't think there's one playable card in there. But
all right, so we're
talking about Shakugan no Shana.
We're talking about Shakugan no Shana.
So we had a reasonable deck before from the premium booster.
Yeah.
It was probably, some might say, and by some I mean me and perhaps this podcast, would say a too reasonable deck. A deck with no finisher. Basically 2 advantage combos surrounding a 1/1 support that says you can't burn. That would have been good at some point in Weiss Schwarz.
Like a year ago.
Many years ago.
2 years ago.
Several years ago. But
nah, come on. 2 years ago it could.
No, we need a way to win the game. And the problem is that double bouncers and double downgrade basically make your deck useless.
Okay, so before Hololive.
And before Chainsaw Man and before every...
Well, that's what I'm saying. Before Hololive 1.
Right.
Like, that was
several years ago at this point.
Nah, it couldn't have been that long.
Don't look it up. You'll be sad when you see it. But in any case, yeah, we still have that. Luckily, we still have that. But also, we have a game plan, a real game plan that involves killing them. So,
Yeah.
The Dengeki Bunko set will be introducing the first reasonable finisher to Shana that has synergy with the rest of the deck. It is a red finisher, it's on door, it heals, and its finishing effect is on attack, ditch 2, burn 4. If the 4 is canceled, you shuffle X cards back into your opponent's deck, X being the number of flame characters that you have.
So take this damage or be ready to take the next packet of damage.
Correct. So either you get massive decomp or you get burn 4 right in the face. So the upside here is there ain't no way they triple this thing, but the downside is sometimes you'll be incinerated by this thing.
You know,
you'll
I'm
be
noticing
delayed incinerated by this thing later whenever you just eat random 4s for no reason.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's been a common trend in the finishers discussed on this podcast today.
Yeah.
And they all involve things not fucking helping us discard cards.
Yeah. So we get a whole bunch of good finishers that we can't triple, or we get a whole bunch of reasonable finishers that don't do as much damage. This concept would normally hold the deck back, but we still have our old fallback. We have a 1/1 support that says you can't take auto damage, which should keep the game slow or force your opponent to sculpt more resources than they'd like to deal with it. Because if you can't deal with it, then you have to try and win with vanillas, which is traditionally very hard. So, let's talk about what that costs. So we're adding a combo to our deck that is on the same trigger as one of the combos we already have. So you're going to have to take one of those advantage combos out.
I think you take out the 2/6. Unironically.
Yeah. No, the 0 combo stays.
The 0 combo stays, dude.
Because the 0 combo is what provides high deck speed, which we have already explained is in fact good. So we want high deck speed, and what we don't want is we don't want anything bad to happen. As a deck that needs to block and keep the game slow, deck speed is much more important to Shana than it is in other decks. Plus, Dengeki is doing a nice job of feeding us a couple more pieces to work with that we can use to kind of buoy this strategy and make the mid-game slightly better than it is. So one of those things, in my opinion, that makes this a lot more palatable is they're adding a 1/0 to the set. It's a 1/0/2/5. It's a level 1 bomb, but also it has an additional effect that lets you pay 1 during the turn it's played on reverse, and you can look it up to 4 for Dengeki Bunko or Flame character. So we have a way to pay 1 and +1 while milling 4. Combine that with our 0 advantage engine and several other cards. We're also adding a level 0 that mills 3 in this set for events. Not that we're running any events, but we could, if we thought we needed to mill 3, we could pile that in.
Yeah, we love milling cards.
And altogether, this produces a nice cohesive package of cards that will create very high deck speed, which is good because we're going to need to block a lot. Also, we still have all the good early plays from Shakugan no Shana's premium set. So we have 2 different early play healers that are both very good.
You still have like those 2 ones that are just like massive randomly.
Yeah. And so...
And not for nothing, a 1/1 like anti-burn assist that gives like power to level 2 and higher specifically.
Yes, 1,000 power.
Yeah.
So we've still got something to work with here. And we've weakened the consistency of the deck, but we've added a more dangerous sort of element on the top end to where you won't feel comfortable being level 3 against this thing. And decomp finishers create weird game states in the end game where they force your opponent to make difficult decisions. For example, if you have 1 climax in 3 and they're dropping this finisher on you, you will not feel very good.
Yeah, get blocked, idiot. Take this 5.
Yeah. Yeah. You could very unironically kill yourself by leaving your deck with a small amount of blocks combined with a large amount of damage cards.
Yep.
So it's tricky. You'll have to play more cautiously against this type of finisher. But I think that's a good thing. I think forcing players to have answers to specific mechanics makes the game more interesting. It makes the game more fun. This is the reason I like anti-damage, minus souls.
Yeah,
even overlords blow up the whole board.
Just ask every California local every day how they feel about looking at the SDS players sitting across from them and deciding whether or not they need to deck themselves out, pay out 5 more stock to not get stock swapped, or any combination of the like just to get burned forward and killed anyway.
Right. That's toxic. I'm not talking about heads I win, tails you lose.
Got it.
Which is what that shit is.
Got it.
But what I mean is like a mechanic that's relatively unique to a specific set that changes the kind of natural gameplay that Weiss takes on in most games. So I think those are good things. They force players to make adjustments. They force players to make meta reads. Basically, you're not going to be able to have all the answers in every single deck. You're going to have to make some choices about the meta calls that you make, specifically if your deck starts to become tight. Like, if your deck is already using a bunch of its slots, like Shauna, you don't get a lot of room to decide what meta calls you're going to make against other specific deck builds that have specific answers. You just have to live with it. And so a lot of decks are going to be put in this position where they're going to either have to answer decks like Shauna or answer decks that do other stuff.
Dude, I think that Sora Rising will be real. I think that unironically, depending on how the slime attendance looks, that Sora will be a real thing. Because if you just dodge the one Overlord player and you dodge the other slime player, then you get to look at your opponent that maybe has an anti-change counter. And you're like, what's up?
Yeah, I think we're in a decent position for minus souls, though I think there are other ways to answer it that exist in the game, like the 2-1 from Hololive, or, there's several other ways that you could manage that.
Like, there are answers,
but they do slow the game in a fundamental way.
They slow the game down in a fundamental way, and unless you are... The funny thing is, if you're Hololive itself, you're probably playing Anya. And so you kind of have, like, an easier way out of it. But I feel like all the other kind of, like, random mid-range decks that are may lack as many of the answers. They might have, like literally, even in this review list that I'm piloting, I took out all of, like, the 2 or higher hate for deck speed, which we love deck speed.
Yeah, you're trying to flatten out the matchups that are already normal.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We're trying to improve those matchups.
Exactly.
But the cost of that
has been, if I see a Sora player,
weird fringe matchups start to become really shitty. Yeah.
I guess I'll die.
Yeah.
I guess I have to find this bouncer and pray to every god. You know?
Yeah. But, and of course, on the other hand of things, a lot of times there'll be very specific cards that are troubling that are answered by something very specific to your set. So, for example, Bocchi the Rock often gets to answer things that are typically not very easy to answer because they have full board trait removal. Full board trait removal screws over a whole bunch of power conditions in a lot of decks. And so a lot of times they can just tell you to fuck off while they kill your whole board. And you may not be ready for that to happen in the game that you're playing. So I think as we go forward and as sets start to develop more of their unique niche playstyles, knowing their cards is going to become more important than ever. And the really, really good players are going to know everything that feels meta relevant and how their deck needs to perform in those spaces if there is a specific thing that needs to happen. If you're playing Slime, you need to at least acknowledge and be aware that this card exists, and if you leverage your hand too hard and you lose your whole Muron board, and you stay at 2, the game's gonna get really hard really fast. So it's stuff like that. And so I think that those are all good things because they force players to be better. You can't just take the exact same road every single game and be like, do this thing, then this thing, then this thing, and then I win. So I think that those are positive things.
Yeah. I think, not for nothing, there was at last year's like Houston regionals, there was a player playing Haruhi going like X1 kind of deep, like, like getting up to like, I think it was like round 5 before he started hitting like X2 and then and beyond, and kind of like I think balancing out at like X3 at the end. But like, you know, if you don't know what horror he does, and you're like, well, he's just got this like funny Stocksoul combo, and then he does this thing and does that thing, and then you play your finisher and he's like, oh, look at that, you front attacked. What climax? Guess you lose.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's part of the game, sadly, but like you should tread very lightly against sets you don't know. There's a reason that person sat down and showed that to you, and there's a reason. And so
and also like any other, like most decks in Weiss, including like kind of mid-range-ish decks, will still have a thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
This is ubiquitous across all card games. This is universal card game advice. If you sit down across from somebody and they start doing a thing that you've never seen before, you should slow down and read their shit that is in the open zones, whatever those zones are. Read it. Read those cards and see what it is that they do, because it will, especially in Weiss, where you're gonna see the entire deck at some point by the mid game. You have seen every card. If you don't stop and at the very least look at anything that has the fist icon, whatever their level 3s are, any events that you may be unfamiliar with, like, you need to figure out what makes this deck work. Because if you just don't read any of that stuff, I can't feel very bad when you get slapped with it later in the game. Because you had an opportunity, it was in an open zone. There's almost no chance that your opponent's going to be able to conceal their entire game plan in their hand. They're going to show you something at some point that's going to give you a clue about how the game's going to go. And if you don't pick up on those clues, if you don't read and gain that information, then when you get hit with it later, you really can't be that surprised.
And even in like a tournament prep idea, if you have a game plan that revolves around an early play combo, and you don't take... We have deck log now.
Yeah.
If you don't take the time to like look at most reasonable sets and be like, is your anti-early at 1 or 2?
And what color is it? And what does it sort of look like, so that I can at
Not
least...
even what color is it?
Yeah.
Counters don't need color. Fuck it. If it's level 1 and it's completely off color, it's not like they're gonna care.
Right.
You better be ready.
Right. It's important that you know the cards for tournament success.
Yep.
And speaking of knowing the cards, the rest of Dengeki Bunko, that is not Shauna focused. There are some decks here.
Strike the Blood.
We have a Strike the Blood combo that is like Alice at Home, where we have a much more straightforward linear path to getting it in play, but the TLDR of it is we have a level 1 that transitions into a level 2 that is a 10k.
And then we clock ourselves to get extra copies.
Right, and there's an advantage combo that goes with it.
Yeah.
So that's all blue. It's all on pants.
Wait, what? Is it not a standby combo?
No.
Oh. Damn.
No.
All right. Cool. No worries.
So it's a blue pants engine.
Okay.
And then on the top end, you will see either the Shauna top end or one of the other, like, I've seen it with Shauna, but I've also seen, there's other, like, fringe reasonable top ends up.
There's like an 8 standby deck where there's like a 2-1 combo that early play form, or it was either early play 4 more or early play like specific card in clock or level. I think it was actually the finisher in level.
Yeah.
And like standby something out and rest it so that you can attack with it. And then there's like a 2-0 counter event that lets you salvage any one of 5 specifically named characters. It's from whatever fuck off franchise. And then if you have all 5 of the characters, the 5 pieces of this random weeb Exodia,
right,
you can tap counter for 3 stop. Otherwise. So it's either salvage or tap counter if you have the 5 characters. So, yeah, like, there's a bunch of random stuff in Dengeki. And not for nothing, I was kind of joking about it, like, at the top of the, mentioning it. But, I bet you that somebody's gonna bring that fucking updated Excel World deck to a regional. and somebody's gonna be like, yeah, all of my back row advantage cards are here, and it's gonna be really cool. My hand's a little weak, but if next turn I'm gonna be able to brainstorm, we're Gucci. And they're just like, I'd front attack your back row, I front attack that other guy, I'll win one of your other guys for fun, die, and you're just like,
yeah.
Oh, man.
So, to clarify, the Strike the Blood thing is a level 1. As an S, it can clock it. It sends itself to the clock to get the 2-1 from your hand. The 2-1 is a 10k that on climax placement, you search for a specific named copy of itself, and then you put it on the stage. And then when your battle opponent becomes reverse, if you have any climax in the climax zone, you reveal the top card of your deck. If it's level 1 or higher, and you put it in your hand.
Okay, so it's like so it spawns out the whole thing. As long as it's in the deck, you can spawn out the whole thing.
Yeah,
and
by
then
damaging ourselves significantly.
So is it do you have to keep clocking yourself? Because it searches for itself, right?
Yes.
And then like to stage or to hand?
To stage.
Okay. So you clock yourself once.
Yeah.
And then you search and you search.
Right.
And then you
well, no, because the second one won't be able to place.
Oh, okay.
You get 2 of them.
You get two.
Unless you clock yourself twice, then
That's
you get
right.
3.
Okay. I'm with you.
Right. The 1-0 also combos with this same climax. Or with any climax, it's on reverse. If there's a climax in the climax zone, it has the exact same effect where it's like reveal the top. If it's a level 1 or higher, put it in your hand on reverse with any climax. So
we got some coin flip advantage. Sure.
Yeah. So
we're wanting to get the 10Ks down, and we're going to keep them in case our like coin flips go a little sour.
Right. So yeah, the Pants climax is what allows her to spawn. But this guy he sends himself to the clock to put her on the board.
Yeah, okay. I'm with you now.
And then the hand advantage is kind of weak, but it 10k and in like the easiest power condition of all time, like if all of your characters are Dengeki Bunko. So like 10k.
Yeah.
It's just 10k.
It's 10k
minimum.
Unless you're playing Mob Psychos, Stock Swapper, and Trait Removal.
Some kind of trait removal, yes.
Slime's random.
Not for nothing,
not slime.
but I'm pretty sure.
Bochi's trait removal.
JoJo's trait remover.
JoJo's Rico trait remover. We love Ricos that have random fuck you effects.
It honestly takes that whole deck apart in a weird way.
Yeah, the JoJo's deck.
They all lose their power instantly because they need an all requirement.
Yeah.
And then you can slam them with the -6k guy and just execute that thing on sight.
Yeah, the death gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are other decks here. If you bought Dengeki Bunko, I strongly encourage you to review the set in its entirety. This is not a set review channel. I am sure PGH will do a set review on Dengeki Bunko. There are a lot of cards to work with here, with 15 double Rs. So there will be a ton of stuff that seems at least reasonable.
All right. So that's the end of the Spike Corner. It started at some point in this episode, and we said that we were in breaking news and then midnight release, and we lied. We were just spikers all the time. It was just the Spike Corner the whole time. We lied.
I think that if you're a real one, you know that the episode is one long pretense for the Spike Corner. And very
this
little
time,
else.
We didn't go to the Spike Corner. It found us.
Right.
We just talked about
the Spike Corner was the podcast we talked about along the way.
But thank you for listening, and that's gonna be our show for today. So tune in next time after your next deck out, and don't you forget to take the refresh point.